Hello everyone and welcome to the program Business Point on Global Television. I am Samuel Odi, many thanks for joining on today's edition of the program. Today we'll be looking at media entrepreneurship in Nigeria, but before we get into the discuss of the day, we will be looking at Nigerian business as confidence seems to boost as PMI, that's Purchase Manager Index, hits 52.0 in the month of January. Then on download, we're witnessing that Nigerian businesses are maintaining a high confidence in the economy despite a slight moderation in growth. The Nigerian Purchasing Managers Index settled at 52.0 in the month of January 2025, while lower than December's 2024 52.7. The index remained above the crucial 50.0 mark, signaling continual expansion in the private sector. The latest PMI data shows that business activities and new orders grew from the second consecutive month, buoyed by improving customer demand and greater willingness to commit to the new projects. More significantly, business confidence soared to its highest level in over a decade, reflecting optimism about expansion plans and also involved market condition. The PMI report reads that reading above 50 crucial signals above improvement in businesses condition on the previous month, while reading below 50.0 shows a deterioration in that sectors. So the key indicators of and the key drivers of this growth that we're witnessing and the 52 point mark that we're witnessing in the PMI, it has to do with business activities that includes continued upwards trajectory, with firms expanding operation in response to rising demand. New orders increased, although at a slower pace than it did in December. There's a difference between the growth in December 2024 and January 2025. Employment levels improved as well as companies hired more workers for the second straight month. Inflationary measures, the pressure eased with input cost and output pricing rising at a much lower rate than it did in December. Then stocking of inventory hit an all-time high of 18 months as businesses sought to maintain supply chain stability. And all of this now is actually very, very interesting and looking good for the Nigerian GDP and the growth of Nigerian market. Still talking about the PMI, the latest PMI reading of 52.0 reinforcing a growing sense of resilience and optimism with Nigerian private sectors. Despite ongoing economic challenges, businesses are showing strong confidence in the economy, reflected in steady expansion, increase in hiring, and also higher stockpiling of inventories. The easing of inflation measures, particularly the slower raise in the input cost, provides a positive signal for companies looking to manage operational expense and sustain profitability. And also for businesses, the sustained growth in new orders suggests that the consumer price and corporate demand is stabilized, allowing firms to plan long-term investment and expansion strategies with greater confidence. That employment levels have now risen to 2 consecutive months indicates that businesses are not only seeing increased demand but also actively positioning themselves for future growth opportunities. So this is what the business PM Purchasing Managing Index is actually saying for the month of January 2025. We're witnessing a bit of a decline from what it was in the month of December, but on the lighter notes, we're witnessing a bit of ups demand in terms of employment, and all of that is actually tilting towards one goal, which has to do with the fact of having Nigerian economy grow and also the GDP as well. In line with that, GDP and also rebasing of the GDP has been in conversation and is about to get signed by the House and then the MBS as well. So looking at all of this now is actually going to be from the 2010 to 20, the old rebasing GDP currently what we've been using has 2010. Now it's going to be introduced at 20. The new new rebasing of the Nigerian GDP is going to be at 2019 because we have more stability in the economy as at the time. So moving forward to 2020, we begin to witness a deficit and a minus in Nigerian GDP due to the COVID-19 incidents that struck the entire universe. So with all of this recent development, we are going to be rebasing Nigerian GDP to 2019. With that being said, while that is still going to be in process and initiatives to be put in place on the way forward as the NBS plan their statistical report, all of this is something that the NBS are working towards, and then they are hoping is going to be in line. Nigerians are hoping is going to be in line with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's facial policies, and also plan for the 2025 budget that has been projected. So we'll be looking at all of that maybe in the subsequent section, but today we'll be focusing more on media entrepreneurship in Nigeria. I have a guest who will be joining me virtually, but I'll be introducing my guest immediately after this break. Please do stay with us. We'll be right back.
Is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of
Many thanks for staying with us, and we sincerely apologize for taking that long break due to some technical issues from the end of our guests. But now we're ready to have the conversation, media entrepreneurship in Nigeria. Joining me virtually is Mr. John Jopek, who is a media expert, a multimedia expert, and also a multimedia coach. Good morning, Mr. John. Many thanks for joining on to this edition of Business Points. It's very good to have you on today's edition of Business Point. So let's get right into it. Looking at the recent tariff hike and all for media entrepreneurship in Nigeria and those that are looking to venture into the business, right? So let's say my question to you, Mr. John, as a coach and also as an expert, what are the most significant challenges facing media entrepreneurship in Nigeria, and how can they all be addressed?
Okay, first of all, a lot of persons might be into media, but so many persons are not into the business aspect of multimedia. Did you get that? Media entrepreneurship, I think we should filter the people who are doing media as a passion from the people who are doing media as a business. Because every entrepreneur has to understand certain principles governing entrepreneur in every business, and what are the strategies to adopt in that particular business. Which of it is resource control, risk management, and then financial management as well. So before we get to look at the problems and the challenges we face in the industry, what has been the readiness of these young individuals over the years? That's why I take it upon myself to train as much as possible to understand that media is not just about getting to handle the equipment, getting to have access to finance, and just getting to open up a studio or run into a multimedia business. But you have to understand the know-how. Know-hows like understanding your customer services, understanding the kind of tool to use, understanding your markets, understanding the kind of niche to venture into as a media professional, so that you can make the income and have what it takes to run that business. One of the challenges so far is the market. We have a very terrible market in Nigeria, sincerely. We are in an environment where what we are doing all the time is just events. A lot of media houses are waiting for events. And these events happen only 3 times in a year. Approximately 3 months. That we have the October, November, December. January is just for a roundup. So how would the media personnel function or operate a studio with so much expenses at the end of the day? Money comes only for 3 months. What happens to the other days, another month of the year? So there is need to diversify. That is from the angle of the creatives. Now, I mentioned the market, we have very poor markets, and then number 2 thing is that a lot of people are doing just the same thing. What Mr. A is doing in Enugu is what Mr. B is doing in Abuja. What Mr. B is doing in Lagos is what Mr. C is doing in Uyo. We are all into one thing, and with this, it tends to affect a whole lot. So that seems to be the basic challenges we are having. I don't like communicating challenges from a third person point. I try as much as possible to communicate challenges from a personal perspective and also what is affecting us in the market. I'm not here to complain about the government and external factors. These are not the kind of challenges I look at. I look at the challenges that are from the inside, that are from the multimedia experts, that are from the media enthusiasts, that are from the creatives themselves. Some of these young persons, you get to give them money. They've not learned financial management. They've not learned certain business nitty-gritties. They are not exposed on the professional aspect of media. So that could be a challenge in the industry, and it is already a challenge because I speak to a lot of them on daily basis. It is a lot of challenge already. So let's first of all see how we raise these professionals to a standard that they understand that business in media is also like every other business in the real world. Multimedia is now a full business on its own. And you cannot say that you are a media personnel without understanding how to do the business aspect of it. If not, you will not make any good living out of that sector, especially in Nigeria.
Rightly mentioned, and then you you've given series of challenges, and obviously there should be ways to navigate around all of these challenges. So how can media entrepreneurs now in Nigeria create sustainable business models that can generate revenue and drive growth? We're also going to look at it from the other angle of social responsibility theory. But before we get right into that, let's see how these challenges are glaring and like you rightly mentioned. Well, how can it be able to generate revenue and navigate around it and drive growth also?
One of the most important things that I want to encourage media personalities to go into, if you know you want to go into the media sectors to drive growth and make money, solve a problem, solve a unique problem. I was speaking to some students last 2 weeks, and what I told them is, no matter how passionate you are about a thing, if you don't have people that will pay you for that thing, that means you don't have a target audience. The first and foremost thing to do if you are into media business is to understand whose problem do I want to solve. In this case, not the conventional problem. I want you to get that right. Not the conventional problem. Let me give you an example that people are not really tapping from. We are in the content economy. We are in an economy where every business should be visible. I preach towards visibility, both personal branding, corporate branding, and no matter how little your business be. The moment you're visible in that business, you tend to make more sales. And how do we convert these sales? How do we convert this visibility? It is through content. You understand me now? So the moment you adopt these aspects and say, okay, I want to shoot content for business people, I want to do documentaries for business people, I want to solve the visibility problem by creating short content for them. That is also an aspect of media. But how many people are into that? How many people have leverage on that? How many people are ready to get the necessary equipment? Forget about the events in Nigeria, forget about the wedding, forget about the party. Let us concentrate on creating short content for brands and individuals. We have very few of them. But that is a fresh sector that nothing has happened to. Nobody has touched it. A lot of people have not tapped into the mastery of that sector yet. It is booming. You understand me now? And then let me give you another example. We have a lot of real estate firms coming up here and there across the cities and across the country. How many of us have been able to tell myself, let me focus on doing real estate documentation? Let me create something tangible for real estate firms, that the moment they want to sell their property, it is easier, it is flexible for them to say, oh, go to our website, go to our social media handle, look at our properties, and then you can decide to buy whichever one you want to buy. Those properties are there. The videos you do for them will ever remain fresh because these people want to sell, and they will definitely use your videos if you are into media. It doesn't mind if you want to go and learn an external things, like you can learn how to pilot the drone, you can learn how to navigate the gimbal, you can learn how to use some external tool that will help you take good shots. But most of us, we have the money, we could lay hands on the resources. What comes to our mind first is to open a photo studio, is to wait for an event, it's to wait for birthday parties. The big guys are already doing that. Solve something novel, solve a novel problem. So this is also an approach that you can navigate through the media world, make money for yourself, and then you solve a tangible problem for your clients. Let's also talk about the religious sector as Nigerians. Nigerians we are too, in South Africa in general, we are too religious. We have churches here and there, and each of these churches have media teams. Is there any media personality or any media brand in Nigeria that says my own work is to set up and train media professionals in each of these churches? Believe me, you will make a lot of money. I know what I'm saying because I've trained. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you.
Yes, I've trained personalities in church. I've trained a lot of media team in churches. So I know that is a sector that has not been tapped. That is a sector that people look, in short, new churches look for media professionals, but they can't find us because we are very few who understand that there's a market somewhere. We are rushing to events. Okay. So I'm not waiting for an event. Are you with me?
Yes, I am with you, but let's get something straight. We've gotten the point of diversifying and also tap into other untapped sources, that's in the media firms. Let's look at this
Definitely.
other angle now. Let's talk about driving social change. And we all know this is like the 21st century, and a whole lot of things are revolving around the media. So how crucial can it be for, media entrepreneurs to play in promoting social and civic engagement and also economic development in Nigeria, so as to have a safe space in the media for the general public?
Left for me, there are a lot of things I find on social media like Facebook and Instagram and X that would have not become a trend. Left for me. If you go to my page Jopeg on Facebook, you will notice that the things I publish are the things that are socially conscious, that are impact-driven content. You can't go to my page and come out the same, because I believe on inspirations that will ignite positive change. So left for me, a lot of things that have become trends in Nigeria, a lot of celebrities would have gone extinct because I would subscribe to such content. So every media entrepreneur now knows that the power and the tool to make this social change is in your hand. What kind of content are you creating? What kind of content are you promoting? What kind of niche and what problem will your content solve? And how does this content affect or influence the next generation? What information are you giving with your content?
Okay.
There are a lot of work that I reject, not because I have money, but because they are not in the tenets to the kind of person I am. So it first of all goes down to you creating a standard for yourself. I spoke with my students this morning about standard and seriousness.
Okay.
The moment they know that Jopeg would not do this one, everybody just know, don't even call him, he won't come.
Okay.
Not because I'm very well, but because I have set a standard.
Yes, Mr. Jobek, time is actually not our friend. I know this topic is something that we need to create so much time to dive into, but sadly time is deciding to run faster than us at this hour. So we'll be drawing the curtain on today's edition of Business Point. We sincerely appreciate you for joining on today's edition of Business Point, Mr. Johnny Jopek.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so very much for joining us on today's edition, and thank you all viewers for watching. And my name is Samuel Odi. I'll see you again as we talk more business. Bye for now.
Then of course.